Hello guys and welcome back to another Payday 2 episode. I've been having quite a few requests about doing my skills and so I'll do that for you guys. So I have a ghost, I'm a level 56 ghost and so just unlocking ghost gives you one ECM jammer. If you didn't know what ECMs are used for, they can open ATM machines and temporarily cancel out electronic devices such as cell phones and cameras. Very useful for stealthing missions. Dead presidents, I use it just for extra loot. It's not necessary by any means. It just, when aced, it gives you 20% more value to loose items that you pick up. This is what will give you the 28,000 out of ATMs instead of 23. Next, Sprinter. I also have this aced. But basic is the time before stamina regeneration starts is reduced by 25%, and the regeneration rate of stamina is increased by 25%. That means when you're out of stamina, you'll start regenerating it 25% faster, and when you are regenerating stamina, it's increased by 25%. So you will be able to run for quite a long time. Aced is your sprint speed is increased by 25%, and you have a 25% better chance at dodging enemy fire while moving. This it's not necessary for stealthing missions. It's just nice to have. Running faster, and when you do go loud, dodging 25% better chance is very useful. You do not get hit very much, especially with the tier bonus unlocked. Your chance to dodge is increased by 5%, so you have very high chance to dodge enemy fire. Next, Cat Burglar. You take 75% less damage from falling from non-fatal heights. And then with it aced, your fall damage is reduced so that you only take armor damage from falling from non-fatal heights. So with this aced, you can pretty much jump from wherever you would like, and it doesn't take much damage. And what damage it does usually goes on your armor. Yes, you can. I mean, jumping from high enough will still hurt you, but it's you have to jump from quite the distance. Next, fast hands. You can pack and interact with loot bags 25% faster, and acing it further increases your pack and interaction speed with loot bags by 50%. This perk makes you pretty much almost instantaneously pick up any loot bag on the ground. If you haven't seen from previous videos how fast it is, you can go check that out yourself. Chameleon. In casing mode, your concealment is increased by 25%, and aced, you are 15% less likely to be targeted when you are close to your crew members. This is nice for start some missions when you need to go walk around buildings without your mask on, and guards can still detect you, so the 25% increased concealment is very nice. And then if you are standing too close to your crew members in casing mode, they have an even higher chance of detecting you, so the 15% is also very nice. Next, Cleaner. You deal 5% more damage against special enemies. That's I mean, it's nice for loud missions, but for stealthing missions, it's not necessary. The reason I do have it though is for the aced. You can now bag and throw corpses. I would say this is almost a must-have, because I would not say leaving a body out in the open is a good idea for trying to stealth missions. Next, Shinobi. My walk speed is increased by 25%, and crouch speed is increased by 10%. Then aced. Enemies make 95% less noise when shot or meleeed to death. Um, let's go over that. Basic, obviously, it's pretty self-explanatory. Walk speed increased by 25%, crouch speed increased by 10%. That just is not necessary, but um, very nice to have along with Sprinter. You go pretty fast anywhere you want with those two perks. Um, the aced part though is incredibly nice. The 95% less noise when shot or melee to death. Um, if you're, say you're doing framing frame and you shot someone by the bathroom, the guard in the lobby will not hear him because it's 95% less noise. Because if you do not have this, guards will detect the noise of them dying. So martial arts, I do not have a single point in this. I personally do not really ever go down and melee anybody, but if you do like to do that, this would more or 50% more likely to knock an enemy down. That just they won't really be able to react to that. So you could just keep hitting them, and you take 50% less damage from all melee attacks because of training. If you are going to be meleeing people, there's a good chance they're gonna do it back. So 50% less damage would be nice. SMG Specialist. This is a very good perk if you use SMGs. I personally do not, but it increases the reload speed of your SMG weapons by 35%. It also increases the rate of fire by 20%, excuse me. This it's like having quick hands and rapid fire in Call of Duty. It is it makes SMGs almost just worth it to use just because of this perk. The tier bonus in this is your chance to dodge is 10%. With all of the other perks that we have gotten, ghosts have a really hard time getting shot by guns if they're running. Excuse me. Next, 9 lives. I do not have this again. You gain the ability to bleed out one more time before dying and going into custody. And then aced is when you bleed out, you have a 10% chance to get right back up. I don't use this because when since I do stealth most of my missions, if it does go bad and we start going loud, we usually just let the police kill us, and then the one extra bleed out and 10% chance of getting right back up would just delay the time we have a chance to restart the mission. ECM Specialist. You can now place 2 ECM jammers instead of 1. This is very nice. If you're running like I do with me and Corinne, we have a total of 4 ECM jammers. We can, like, as you've seen in our videos, we use ECMs all the time. It is very nice. This will be the next thing I ace, seeing how it makes the ECM jammer duration increased by 25% and the ECM feedback lasts 25% longer. That will make you, it'll make the ECM jammer last 24 seconds instead of 20. The 4 seconds can save some missions sometimes. You never know. And ECM feedback lasting 25% longer. I'll get back to ECM feedback when we get to that tree, or that skill. Silent Killer. I have this on basic. I deal 15% more damage with all silenced weapons. I take this because if I miss the headshot, it usually will still kill them with the chest shot. Just because all my guns are silenced that I use typically. If you were to ace it, I would deal 15% more damage and have a 15% chance to pierce enemy armor with silenced weapons. I just don't have this aced because I don't really need that much more damage. The basic 15% is enough, and the 15% chance to pierce enemy armor when silent, there's not really any armored units that you need to kill, so just don't have that. Next, lockpicking expert. I would actually like to have this. It increases lockpicking speed, interaction speed by 25%, and you can now silently crack safes by hand if you have it aced. Faster lockpicking speed. I mean, it's just gonna save you time, but cracking safes by hand makes it so you don't have to drill into some things, and potentially that could just save you the mission with cause drills are pretty loud. People will hear them, so sometimes during silent missions we don't even get the safes just because how loud drills are. But yeah, next I have ECM Override aced. Basic ECM Jammer lasts 25% longer. This alone, without ECM Specialist, will just put it up to 24%. I'm not sure if you had both, it would do 25% of 24, or just add another 4% or 4 seconds. So safe bet is saying it give you around a 28-second ECM jammer. That is substantially longer. It just, like I said in the last one, you need all the time you can get sometimes with ECMs, and that long is very useful. And then ECM Jammer can be used to open certain doors. I love this perk. It makes it so we don't have to always have the manager key or the key card, because we can just ECM doors open, and so we don't have to risk the mission trying to get the manager's key card. Instead, we can just open doors we need to be opened. Next, this is where I run out of points in Ghost, but I'll still continue. The Professional. Weapon stability with silenced weapons is increased by 50%. That means you just won't have the wobble as much by 50%. And then your accuracy with silenced weapons is increased by 50%, and your snap to zoom is 100% faster with silenced weapons. So this is pretty self-explanatory. You will just, or you're 50% more accurate. The bullets won't sway as much, and you zoom in very much faster, 100% faster. It's pretty much an instant zoom instead of you bringing your hands up. It's very nice. I would love to have this perk if I had more points. Next, Lucky Charm. Your chance of getting a higher quality item during a payday is 50%. This is not necessary, but it's I mean, if you're just trying to get like rare masks or really good gun attachments, etc., this is very nice. Acing it increases it further by another 200%. So you'd pretty much get higher quality items almost every time on paydays. It'd be nice to have, but again, no points. ECM feedback. This is what I was talking about earlier. Once you place an ECM, you can now interact with it and cause it to feedback. When interacted, the ECM jammer has a 50 to 100% chance to incapacitate enemies within 25 meters. Every 1.5 seconds. the ECM feedback lasts 15 to 20 seconds. As it says, it just pretty much stuns all enemies within a 25% radius, and acing it you will now instantly interact with an ECM jammer, and the ECM feedback duration is 25%, or increased by 25%. So I don't think I would ace this even if I had the basic, because a lot of times you don't want to have the feedback going, because once the feedback ends, any guard affected by it, so any guard within a 25-meter radius or civilian within a 25-meter radius will have affected it, and they will call the police off of it. I know Kryn had it for a while before we really looked into it, and it ruined a couple solid missions we had going because we didn't understand that they would call the police after it. Next, moving target. You can now sprint while strafing, and then acing it, you can sprint in any direction. This means you could backpedal sprint, you can strafe sprint, you can sidestep sprint. Again, it's not necessary, but you will run faster, or not faster, but you'll move around quicker, but you can look anywhere you would like. And so that's the ghost tree. Moving on, I do not have a single point in technician. I don't know. It's technician. Not much that I really would say is useful for stealthing missions. So that's why I do not have anything in here. It's more for turrets and C4, etc. Enforcer. Unlocking the Enforcer. I'll read this to you. The Enforcer is a violent criminal usually employed by crime syndicates to execute jobs that no one else can. Spending the first tree in Enforcer unlocks the ability to place ammo bags. The ammo bag can be used to gain ammunition, obviously. On some missions, when you're going loud, ammo bags can be very nice, because if you run out of ammo, you can't really just run up to a group of 5 cops and melee them all to death. You'd die. So having the ammo bag, or at least one person in your squad, very useful. What I do have is Transporter Aced. You move 50% faster while carrying bags, and you can throw bags 50% further while doing mission stealth. This is just such a time saver. 50% faster and 50% farther you just move bags like they're nothing. As you've seen in our videos, you just hurl bags everywhere. Next, Mastermind. The Mastermind is a manipulative leader who excels in situation control. Spending the first point in Mastermind skill tree unlocks the ability to place a doctor bag. The doctor bag obviously can be used to regain health. The doctor bag fully restores your health. It has 2 charges in its basic states, but it's also very nice because I am pretty sure it resets your downs, or at least gives you 1 more. So when you do go down, if you go down a bunch on a loud mission and you use a doctor bag, you'll get back up. Alright, but Cable Guy. You can cable tie hostages 75% faster, and it increases your supply of cable ties by 4. So you start with 2 cable ties. Getting 4 more is much needed when tying hostages down. And the 75% faster, it just helps when you are tying down, so you can get the entire room down before they stand up and start to run. Very useful. I do not have combat medic. After you have revived a crew member, you receive a 25% damage bonus for 10 seconds. And reviving a crew member gives them 30% more health. If you are a mastermind main, this is just a very good if you're working in a group. Once you do revive a crew member, you can almost pretty much kill anyone in sight with 25% bonus damage. And when reviving crew members with 30% more health, that means when you do revive them, they don't have to go waste a charge on the ammo or the doctor bag. Usually with that extra health, they can just keep on going. Next, endurance. Increases your stamina by 100%, means you can run for quite a substantial amount of time. And then acing it increases your stamina for you and your crew by 50%. This it just makes it so you can run for longer, but this also makes your crew run for 50% longer. I am not 100% positive if they stack, saying you had 2 or more in your group with it. I can check into that, but yeah, it's very nice. Inside Man reduces the asset costs in the job overview menu by 50%. You'll just save money. Unlock special Inside Man assets in the job overview menu. You'll get things other people without it can't see, but it's not necessary by any means to have these. Yeah, fast learner though. I just have this because I'm not max level yet. 50% more experience when I complete days and jobs. It's just helpful while leveling up. You level quite a bit faster. And acing this, you and your crew gains 30% more experience when you complete days and jobs. This is again just very helpful while leveling up. Together the 45% extra experience really adds up. Next, Smooth Talker. This is pretty key when doing stealthing missions. You can now successfully answer 4 pagers instead of 2. Now, as you know, pagers are something you have to answer when you kill a guard and talk to the guy in the security room, I believe, technically. But this, if you can only answer 2, that means, say there's 5 guards, you're gonna either have to make 3 of them your hostage, and then you can kill 2, or find a way around killing the guards because they'll call the cops if you do not have this. Next, Equilibrium. Increases your accuracy with pistols by 10% and decreases the time it takes to decreases the time it takes to pull and put away pistols by 50%. It's just like a quick draw type thing, and obviously 10% better accuracy. Increases rate of fire with pistols by 100%. If you have a good trigger finger, you can probably unload a round or unload a clip in like 1.5 seconds. Next, Dominator. You can now intimidate a non-special enemy. Less well-trained enemies are easier to intimidate. This just makes it so it's easier to put down hostages, and I typically use this just because I use this because when putting hostages down, it just makes it easier, so you don't have to sit there and yell, and without this, sometimes guards won't get down, they'll just start shooting. So guys, that's all the skills I have. Hope this helps. I'd love to hear suggestions on if you don't like my skills, how to change them. But yeah, till next time, guys. See ya.